Welcome everyone. My name is Jessica. I am a life transformation coach helping people transform their lives. Today what I have for you is the bare bones beginner's guide to upgrading your life. So if this is something that you are interested in, have been thinking about for a while, are struggling to do, start and then stop doing, this is the video for you. So when we think about upgrading our lives, transforming our lives, sometimes that can be very overwhelming because there's a lot of unknowns. We kind of have a timeline in our mind, and that timeline is, I want it to happen right now, right? So there's sometimes a lack of patience, and that can sometimes cloud our vision for the concrete steps we need to take to actually make the change and start seeing transformation materialize for us. So this beginner's guide starts with step number 1, which is starting at the end. So what we're going to do is we want to work backwards, not forwards. So not looking at things, where am I at the moment and what do I think I need to change to get to that future vision that I have. That's not how we're going to do this. So we're going to completely invert the process, start at the end. So you need to have a clear idea of your vision, your goal, your dream, whatever it is that you want to achieve. That's where you're going to start. And you're going to think about how your life will be when you have achieved that vision, that goal, or that dream. When that thing, that person, that experience has materialized for you in your life, envision how that looks, feel how that feels, okay? So if you've got that down, let's move to step number 2. So where are we going to end? Okay, so this is a process, and if we're making this linear, we are starting at the end with the vision. So we're going to end at the start with right now. So we're going to look at where we are right now and notice the divide. Notice the difference between where we are now and where we're trying to get to in regards to this vision, this dream, this goal, this person, this experience, okay? This is where people often get overwhelmed and give up, and then nothing changes, okay? So we've gone through number 1, identified our vision. Now that we're on step number 2, looking at the present, we need to analyze what is helping us get to that vision and what is not helping us get to the vision. And when we look at the things that are not helping us get there, okay, what we're going to look at is why they're not getting us there, and we're going to ask ourselves if they are simply distractions, perhaps driven by limiting beliefs, okay? So we're not going to go into completely like rewiring our brains or anything here, okay? This is the beginner's guide to taking first steps to transforming our lives. So we are looking at our present and all the things that we enjoy about it, the things we don't enjoy, the things that are helping us get towards our vision, and the things that are detracting from our progress towards our vision, okay? So we have our future analysis, our future goal, our future vision. We have our current life analysis, all the things that are there, and also identifying, I should say. So this is a clarifying point. When we're looking at the things that are helping us get there versus not helping us get there, what we're trying to do is analyze what elements of our current life, lifestyle, relationships, environment are supportive and that we want to either keep as is or enhance, or the ones that are perhaps distractive or destructive that we want to reduce and or eliminate completely. So when we're holding these two ends of the spectrum against each other, it's helping us formulate a more paved path, I'll call it, a paved path towards that future, okay? So now that we're talking about paths, we have the end goal and the starting point, and we're talking about the path in between those two. This is where a lot of the anxiety comes up, because what I have found with the clients that I work with is that there is a perfectionistic element here where we want the vision so bad that we are more afraid of getting it wrong than we are excited about getting it right, okay? that fear, that anxiety can sometimes be the only thing preventing that future vision from coming into fruition, from materializing in our reality. So when we're talking about the path between point A and point B, what I want you to remember is that even though there's a tendency to think about different paths, look at it in terms of different paths, right? Like we want to say, well, if I do this, then I'm going to end up over here. And if I choose this other thing, then I'm going to go in this direction. I just want all of you to think of it in terms of just a road, okay? Think of it in terms of lanes on a road, and they're all heading in the same direction. It's just a matter of time of which lane you want to be in. So it's always your choice. Nothing is going to prevent you from getting your vision as long as you are holding that vision in your mind and making appropriate changes according to the path you've chosen. Okay? So now you're like, oh, it's sounding so complicated. No, it's not, I promise. So the plot twist was that it was all the same road. Lanes in a road, not different paths where we have to get it right, okay? So when we're looking at it in these terms, it's less about right and wrong and more simply about charting your change. That's what I call it. So we're not going to say, oh my gosh, I don't want to pick the wrong lane. There is no wrong lane. All you have to do is pick one lane, and knowing that it's on the same road, going in the same direction as all the other lanes, you just have to chart your individual plan for following that same one road forward towards your vision. This is where you are really able to customize the process to you instead of trying to follow a pre-configured formula, that is supposed to work for everyone. It's not always that simple or realistic, right? We are unique individuals. We have our own internal worlds, struggles, external challenges that might pop up. So think of it just in terms of charting your individual change and walking down whatever path you've chosen. And you control the parameters, okay? So it doesn't matter what path you take because you're always controlling the parameters, and you can change it up as you go to keep yourself moving in a positive direction towards that end goal vision. Now, number 4 is really important, okay? So if you're starting to feel overwhelmed with charting that change, don't overdo it. There's no need to have a list of 50 things you have to change across 10 categories of your life. Just pick some very big, obvious things that are supporting you, and some very obvious big things that are maybe not supporting you towards reaching that vision that you have in your mind, okay? So we're gonna keep this simple and focus on the big ones. And that doesn't make it more challenging just because of the big ones. It actually makes it easier, because if we focus on the bigger obstacles or supporters as we're moving forward towards our vision, what we often find is that all those little things that we wanted to include in the plan initially take care of themselves. If we correct one large obstacle, a lot of those other fringe things that we thought we had to consciously focus on, to stop doing, to change, whatever, they will naturally sort of fall away with the bigger obstacle that they were attached to. So they were stemming from something bigger that we were doing or not doing, okay? So this is why it's important. We don't have to overdo it. We don't have to stress ourselves out to the nth degree on this. We just have to pick our lane and identify a couple large supporters and obstacles that we need to overcome, or maybe not obstacles, let's call them non-supporters, okay? That we want to change, modify, emphasize in order to continue moving forward down our path along that same road that all those other paths, remember, are going that way too. There's no FOMO, there's no regret, there's no getting it right, getting it wrong, okay? There's only being consistent and being dedicated. So that brings us to number 5. And number 5 is commit to it. So this is where the dedication comes in. Don't doubt yourself. You've just got to commit to it. And once you get over that first item, So let's say you start with an obstacle and you maybe sleep in until 10 a.m. every day and wake up groggy, okay? Or, you're snoozing the alarm clock for an hour and your sleep is just terrible and you wake up super exhausted. What we want to do is, if you've identified that as one of your biggest obstacles, we want to set a new wake up time. And if that is difficult to achieve because we're up until 2 a.m., maybe we need to go to bed earlier. And these are not always easy for us to implement at first, okay? So maybe you have first couple good nights where you're in bed on time, you wake up at the new time earlier the next morning than you did the morning before. But then after a couple days, you start to slide back, right? You slide back into that old pattern. That's normal and that's okay. This is why we are committing to it. So we're picking one thing to start with. And the reason for this is that because the reason for this is because when we experience a lot of challenge with changing something about ourselves, about our environment, something that we are really attached to or just unconsciously going through the motions on, it can be a real challenge to break out of the sort of autopilot way that we're living, right? That we're just going through our lives at that time of day that we usually do that thing, and our body is just unconsciously doing it. So, if we go to bed earlier, our body's gonna lay in bed and not be able to sleep because this is not the usual sleep time. And if we try to just wake up earlier without training ourselves to go to bed earlier, we might wake up and just be super exhausted and grumpy because our body is not used to waking up this early. So really the main reason for committing to just one and making it an important one is because often what we find and what I have seen in many of my clients is that when we have experienced a challenge such as that with changing a behavior, changing a program, changing a routine, if we experience success in one change, in implementing one change, that tends to generate a surge of inner motivation and inner pride and excitement seeing that accomplishment. And then we have proof from ourselves that we can do it again, right? That saying, if I've done it once, I can do it again. Just like riding a bike. You can translate that to all of the other items that you've identified in your list that you want to modify in some way. So let's recap, okay? And we're going to do this. We're going to commit to doing this. So one is we're starting at the end with the vision. Get an idea in your mind of where you want to go, what you want to have, who you want to be, okay? 2, we are going to end at the start. We're going to say, okay, where is my life now? Who am I being right now? What do I have right now? And just think about, you're going to start brainstorming here for number 3, is charting the change. You're going to choose the path. You're going to choose the things that you need to modify, adjust, incorporate into your life, remove from your life, that is going to continue driving you forwards towards that vision, in the direction of the vision, right? We want the path to be customized for us individually such that it leads us to that end point vision. Number 4 is we are not going to overdo it. We are going to make our list and we're going to pick one, okay? We're going to pick one primary thing. We're not going to try to tackle everything at once because that never works. It's too much. We need to pick one that we think or feel is most significant to starting to implement this change. Something that's going to be most impactful for us, either just from a day-to-day standpoint in our lives, making our daily life better now, or implementing a new habit that perhaps is a challenge to implement now, but we know that once it's implemented is going to get us leaps and bounds ahead. And then number 5, we are going to commit to it. So when the body is telling us, no, we don't want to go to bed. No, we're not going to bed. You're going to go to bed. And when your body is telling you, no, I don't want to wake up. I'm going to snooze. I have an hour that I can still snooze. We're going to get up. Okay? and we're going to commit to it. So eventually what you will find is that your body is going to conform to your mind. So when you become more comfortable, more confident in number 5 with committing to it, you will find that the body is now following what your mind is telling it instead of your body and your mind being in conflict. And when that flip happens and the body starts listening to the mind, it gets easier and easier and easier. And you now already have the experience of implementing a habit or breaking a habit that you can translate into the other changes that you had on your list from number 3 for charting your change. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you try this out. Maybe you just get to step 3. That's okay. As long as you guys are able to take these 5 steps at whatever pace you're comfortable and make some sort of progress, even just start thinking about it, right? It doesn't even have to be on paper. Just kind of think about it in your mind as you're preparing to make the change, as you're preparing to make your dreams a reality and upgrade your life. Okay, that's what's most important. We're not looking for perfection here. We're not looking for a one and done. We're not looking to get it done in a day. Really, we just want progress, and we've got to commit to it. So I hope that you have found this helpful. I hope you all try it. Share your experiences below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.